You guys, a little more energy here now. You know, it's after lunch, everything like that. Everybody know who Epsilon is? Yeah, no. We'll teach you a little bit about who Epsilon is today and everything like that. First of all, thanks for having us. We're going to talk about ad tech and marketing tech and what Epsilon's doing today, what we're doing around technology, around AI and everything like that. You heard a lot of stuff today around AI. Same things exist for Epsilon. A lot of the questions, a lot of the challenges, the way we look at it, things like that. You heard a lot today. Same way. So we'll jump right into it. First thing I want to do is introduce who is Epsilon. Epsilon, we're in the MarTech and the ad tech space. So what we do is we provide solutions for our clients, services, platforms, products, data, identity, and everything across the board for our clients. And what we do is we help them find who their customers are and everything. That's the first thing to do. So if you look up top, we have one view, one vision, one voice. That's how we kind of look at it. So the view is, how do we look at the buyers for our customers, clients and stuff, so that they have the universe that they can go talk to. The second part is one vision. That's how often do you talk to somebody? How do you talk to them? Everything like that. You know, we're in the marketing space. These are clients come to us and they say, how do we reach our people? How do we talk to them? How often do we do it? And then the other thing too is we create a communication across there so that we talk to them on many different channels. That could be from digital to social to email, direct marketing, anything like that we can talk to them. So that's what Epsilon does as a whole. What we're going to do is I'm going to turn this over to Pratik. He's going to walk through some examples here of how Epsilon works today. We've been doing AI underneath the covers for a long, long time. We want to bring that out and talk a little bit about that because it's really not different what today is other than you're bringing it out to the top, to the surface. So I'll turn it over to Pratik.
Well, consumers don't live in campaigns or messages. They live in moments. And the brands that win meet consumers in those moments. That's what I have learned in the last about 9 to 10 months that I have been at Epsilon. So as Myron said, I actually lead the India Center operations for Epsilon since last 10 months. But most of my life, I had been a consumer, like all of you, right? We all had been a consumer. And as a consumer, I was surprised many times at how the brands knew me so well. Not because the ad was loud, but because it was so contextual and so relevant, right? And now I'm part of the team at Epsilon that builds those moments and delivers them, right? So what we will do today is, as part of our talk, Myron and I will take you through and introduce you with what it takes to build those moments and how AI is actually enabling that. So let's get started. First, meet Faye. Faye is our cat. She is about 3 years old. She is the most loved member of our family. I can tell you with full authority that none of our vacation or family trips are successful if Faye is not part of it. But sadly, there have been many times where we search for hours and we are not able to get a good pet-friendly room or a hotel of our own choice, right, of our choice. So we, in fact, as late as probably a couple of months back, I had to actually cancel my trip as well, whole vacation, because I was not able to do that. Now imagine, right? Keep it aside and imagine that within minutes of your search of a hotel or a pet-friendly room, you receive an ad that lists you with a good option with an offer for a pet-friendly room, and that comes with very positive reviews from people like you, people like us. You'll be, of course, excited, I'm sure, right? If your pets, you would see, you don't get it, you get an ad now, you are excited, you want to click it. What if I say that the system is so intelligent that it additionally knows that you had been looking and searching for finance options in your bank's website, so it comes prepared and offers you a curated travel loan offer, right? One that is customized for your terms, the EMIs you say, and what you do. And also it comes with an expiration window, right, to trigger that action. Now what do? You quickly go ahead and grab it, right, before it expires. That is what we mean by marketing and the marketing moments. It's about the right moment that comes with right context and encourages the right action. That's where the future of marketing lies. And what may seem so simple for us or an effortless for us, it's actually not so. There is a massive system underneath, a massive architecture that actually needs to get all the pieces together to enable that magical moments that we talked about. And so what we'll do is that we'll go through one by one all of this, and so that you get some understanding of what it takes and the scale and the speed that a marketing tech needs to have. So we'll start with first is identity resolution. Now, at the core of marketing is person, or a consumer like you and me, right? And people are complex. I can tell you that I may look young. I've been married for 25 years. Still, my wife surprises me many times. So people are complex and like a multifaceted diamond, right? So identity resolution needs to study all the different attributes of a person to uniquely identify him or her, irrespective of the location, your channel, or the device that you are using, right? At Epsilon, we study over 7,000 plus attributes of one individual person to identify uniquely that person. Now, identity resolution is very critical because it actually is a glue that connects the customer's first-party data with Epsilon data in a very privacy-safe manner that actually increases the reach of our customers when it comes to new prospects, new consumers, or even enhancing the profile of your current customer. So identity resolution is one of the most important capabilities that the MarTech needs to have. Yeah, now we know who the person is, right? It's all about processing everything around the consumers, around the people, right? So it's like an avalanche of signals, you can think about it, that needs to be converted very quickly into signals, meaningful signals, so that we don't lose that moment, right? So it always reminds me of a Formula One pit crew, if you've seen, right? Changing tires, adjusting aerodynamics, refueling, all within a couple of seconds. So the system needs to take care of that real-time data processing, and you can see, like at Epsilon, we are actually processing about 600 billion plus online interactions daily. That's a lot of data. Now, it's a tons of data, and technically, if you look into it, right, each data is a node in a graph database. And to connect those connect all those nodes and continuously fine-tuning it requires a very, very complex models, statistical models, or you can call them as a predictive AI. In fact, they're so complex that none of the commercially available graph algorithms could handle that scale. So the Epsilon data scientists and engineers over decades actually build those models that can handle this scale. The next one, now that we know who the person is, all the information on the person, it's also about reaching out to the person in a meaningful way with the content that is curated towards his own taste, just like a mom probably cooks the food for the family, right? So it should be curated such that the customer doesn't feel targeted, but feels understood. This is where I think the future of marketing lies, because the generative AI combined with the predictive AI that we talked about in the previous capabilities helps generate this content almost on a real-time basis. And we believe this is where you will see the maximum marketing optimal performance as well as the customer delight. OK, so moving ahead, we talked about who, we talked about what, we talked about a little bit about all the data that brings in. Now it's also about where and when, right? Now, if you look at personally, my calendar is so busy that the only time or the best time for me to get engaged would be after probably 10 p.m. Omnichannel orchestration just allows you to reach the right customer at the right time through the right channel and the right device. So that's the capability which is very important. And to me, as I always relate it with an orchestra where all the musical instruments coming together, playing, hitting the right note at the right time to create the perfect symphony. So there's a lot of data here. I'm not going through all of this, but just to get you an understanding of the scale that the system needs to handle here. OK, so now that we learned all of this, at the end of the day, it's the success of our customers, why we are what we are, right? And which leads to our success as well. So the system needs to support measurement and feedback loops, just like a GPS system which autocorrects to make sure that you reach your destination, right? And just to give you an idea, like I spoke for about 5 to probably maybe 7 minutes, I'm not counting it, but in about 5 minutes, we are actually updating about 1 billion model that has got updated across the world, right? And so essentially what I'm trying to here say is building that magical moments requires you knowing your customer, the identity resolution part, processing all the information around it, your AI-driven personalization and reaching out to the customer, omnichannel orchestration, measurement and feedback loops. When all of them come together, that's the point when you actually build or create that magical moment. But that it's not a magic that builds it, it's the architecture with AI at the core. And for us, that architecture is what we call as an Epsilon People Cloud architecture. And with that, I'll invite Myron to take us through what more about that architecture. Thank you, Myron.
So as you heard Pratik talk, scale of our platforms is what drives our business and things. We do it very fast. We do it with a significant amount of data. We have identity built into our platform, which allows us to help with the identification. When do we need to talk to you? How often we need to talk to you? So, but this didn't happen overnight. We've been building this out for years, actually, and stuff. Epsilon used to be a bunch of disparate properties, data assets, everything like that. We've been working with a lot of the hyperscalers from AWS, Microsoft, Google, Databricks, and a few others to actually consolidate down. So, there's a lot of discussion I heard on proprietary, in the cloud, off the cloud, not in the cloud, in your own data center, things like that. We go through those same debates too, and we've been working through that about where do we have data. It doesn't matter where our data is. We can have data on-prem, we can have it on cloud, we have to secure it. Everybody's got to follow governance and things like that. But the idea here is that we've been consolidating this down so that we're actually set up when agentic AI and Gen AI have come together here to set ourselves up so that we can move quickly on this and everything like that. So if you go through our whole platform here, you look down at the bottom, we basically have a bunch of services and solutions that we offer on top of our data and identity. And those have been there for a while. We're enhancing them. Obviously, there was talk about, data. Data has to look a little different than what it did yesterday. We have to make it fit the AI models, things like that, so it can be fast, things like that. We're always optimizing, and as we go through that. But then what you have up there is go up a layer there. We still have our user interfaces that we've had and stuff. Those aren't going to go away. Those will be a slow progression and everything like that. But what we've done is we've started to embed agentic AI into our products. And the idea behind that is we can take certain use cases and be able to allow our customers to be able to work faster in their journey. But they don't have to switch over because, one of the problems is people haven't fully adopted AI. Again, I keep referring because I found a lot of the sessions very interesting. We're having the same conversations is people haven't adopted it yet, right? So it's a slow roll to get there. So people are used to the way they did things yesterday, but we want them to go to tomorrow, but you got to put it in front of them to actually do that. You can't just expect them to adopt AI at the end of the day. So what the teams have done is we've built out the framework to have agentic AI along with our traditional API, user interface, and everything like that. And then at the top is our user base, right? The user base varies too. And so what we have to do is we have to keep those guys, happy because they're used to doing their job this way. We want them to switch this way because with AI, it'll help them move along faster. And we don't look at like they're going to be replaced, their jobs are going to be replaced. We're trying to enable them to do their jobs more efficiently so that they can continue to do things more and more. So if you look at that, that's our architecture that we built. We're not going to dive too big into, but this is done at scale. Like I said, we have massive amounts of data. You saw the numbers that Pratik put up there and everything like that. So the next thing I want to do is talk about a use case here, and this is one of our use cases. If you go out to our booth, they've got another showcase of a use case that we have out there that's in production now and everything like that. Again, we're doing the same thing everybody else is. We're trying some stuff, we're getting it to work, we're testing, validating, everything like that, and we're rolling it out. But leaving it available so that they can go traditional or this, they can compare the results. And we've tested ourselves, we get the same results. But here's one where we did audience selection. Audience selection around Epsilon is a big deal because campaigns requires audience, who are you going to market to, who are you going to talk to, things like that. Again, we went through here, there's basically three agents here, and they have to all work together. Natural language processing to basically prompting, right? So then we have a vector search. We've made it efficient underneath the covers to look up the, research, run the models, everything like that. And then we have generative SQL that's running actual queries. All these together have sped up how a marketer works around our data and creates audience. And all we're trying to do is make things easier for them. They could do all the same stuff through a traditional, now they can do it faster. And that's really what we're trying to do, is how do we actually get up and running, get people moving along faster. So again, here's a use case. Please visit our view. They've got another use case on offer management. It's great. We are going to continue to evolve and add these into our products on a roll. But then I'd like to talk about how Epsilon looks at this as a whole from AI perspective. We've been talking about this for a while. This model's evolved for us, but this is how we look at our pillars. We basically have three pillars in there. I talked a little bit about the products and platforms we have. We're spending a lot of time on what we're going to build into our products, being very selective about what we do too. We're not just rolling everything out and saying, oh, it's all AI. It's not going to be all AI. It's going to take a while to get there, but we want to introduce people to it so that they start to use it. Productivity and efficiency is a big play. We're playing a lot. We're doing a lot with the SDLC. We've been trying code generation. There's still work to do there, everything like that. But we're also looking at around testing. I know a bunch of people have talked about testing efficiencies there and things like that. And it is not about replacing people. Jobs are going to change, right? I think some people have said that. Jobs are going to change. They're not going to look the same as they did yesterday, everything like that. What we want to do is we want to do things more efficiently and productively, like setting up our products, rolling them out, building them, things like that, even from the product perspective. How do we get new requirements in there? So what we're doing is we have a very big concentration on how do we do those things more efficiently and effectively so we can have people move on to other tasks that we want to get done. And the last one is around business operations. This is the enterprise. We talk about enterprise because we produce products and services, but now we have HR, finance, accounting, sales, marketing. How do they work? And how do we actually get them to work across our platform and services? So we have a concentration on that. All that has to do with responsible use, though. As you go, we have massive amounts of data. We have internal data. We have external data. We have a client's data. We have lots of data and everywhere. But we have to use it in the right way. And we're across all the globe. We're not just in the US, we're in the EU, we're in Asia Pacific, we're in India, we're everywhere. But we have to use it right. We have to stay up there. And we can't do this after we go build something now. We have to do it while we're building it. We have to be responsible, understand what we're going to do, how we're going to build it so that we actually roll out. And then what we also did is we built a center of excellence. So I don't know what companies, I haven't heard anybody talk about their center of excellence. This has been a focus for us because this helps give back to our employees how they actually are going to work. It actually, and I've got a slide here on our center of excellence, and this is a little bit busy, but the idea is that we have tools in there. We want people to understand what tools are available, how they can use it, everything like that. We want them to have a measure what you're doing, right? So how do you get to take those observability data back in and say, how did we do, and everything. We want to get adoption. We want to get adoption at scale. I think everybody's talked about adoption today. We're at the same point. We have people using AI. We want them to use AI just in their general life. Because if they don't use it, I think somebody made a point earlier, don't use it in general life. It's really going to be hard for them to use it in your products and their regular work and everything like that. So we have a really big push right now. It's like, how do we get in front of everybody? How do we make it easy to use at your desktop? How you work today? You're in your main tools. Like, if a lot of teams, we use Microsoft products. We use email, Outlook, and Teams. We want everything to be embedded there so that they don't have to jump around to different products. They can just go there, do what they need to do, and such. Plus, build their own agents, right? Because they know how best their jobs, what they do in their jobs, and stuff. And so then we also have the community practice. Community practice is the whole sharing, learning, and everything like that across the board. But this is big because this is a big part of your governance within your company. So, and then finally, challenges. Heard a number of these challenges. Costs, still hard to predict what the cost of AI is going to be. Talent, skill gaps, everybody lacks the talent. You feel it's building, a lot of it's got to be organically growing, things like that. That takes time. Data quality and silos. Quality of the data is a big deal. And things, not just having the data, we have massive amounts of data, but the quality of the data. Governance, that's got to be at the top of everybody's mind, got to govern it. You don't want to not tell people to do stuff. What you want to do is make it easier for them to do it so that they don't make mistakes or walk into traps. Get over the resistance to change. How do you culturally change your company and organization? And then make it available to everybody, right? We have to make our tools available. If we don't make it available, then we're still kind of stuck. So I think that's it. I think you want to finish it up?
Yes, I think we are over time. So I hope you got some good understanding or basic understanding of what it takes to build a world-class ad tech and martech system. As you heard from Myron and me, it's about building those moments, but building those moments requires a massive architecture with AI at the core, and it needs to evolve further at an enterprise level, as you heard from Myron. So with that, I just want to say that we have a booth, booth number 60, where at Expo, you can come and see some of these features live, play with it, meet our people, and even talk to us. And we'll be also willing to hear from you about how you are handling those challenges that Myron talked about. So that's all from me and Myron here. Thank you, everyone.